Thank you so very much, Marcus. First, I will start with the announcement. Dan King from the United States, he said he cannot attend today because he lost his mother-in-law. So actually the burial ceremony is today in Texas. So that's unfortunate. So I don't know. He said some other guys, they will record for him. So I told him that we normally record the teachings that you can watch later. So I just want to welcome everybody who is joining now to our leadership teaching. And today we're going to have Marcus Reichenbach. We're going to teach us about leaders know how to reach their calling, how to live their calling out. So it will be an exciting time with him. But first of all, I would like just to remind you, like what we did last time about the leadership style. And I hope that you had time to apply, to do the assignments in your small groups. So I don't know how was it like? Did you find it easy, or is it difficult to figure out the different styles of leadership and their impact? Maybe if somebody can just share what was the experience, the experience, and then we're going to get a book report from Philip from Malawi. They're going to give us a book report, and then after that, we will hand over the microphone to Marcus, who is going to teach us today. So, do we have any volunteer who can say, from the different styles of leadership, this is what we learned, and we did the assignment, this is what we find out? Just brief, just so that we can have a connection from last time to now. Do we have any volunteer? My microphone is open. Anybody?
Just have problems here with connecting. You don't need that. You can just push the I don't know it. Actually, I don't know. I send it to you. Can you, why, you can just connect to my, this is,
somebody else would like to share something? When Malawi is ready, you just give me a thumb up, then we can pick it up. Okay, they're ready. Mr. Kariza, do you want to share something?
Hi. I'm in, Edith.
Okay. Edith, would you like to share something from what you have learned so far from the last lecture?
Not quite really. Sorry, I'm having a cough.
All right.
Yeah. It was about transformational leaders. Transformational leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. This leadership, the one that you said that it saves the chance to the status quo by appealing the followers' values and the sense of higher purpose.
Yeah.
For example, the leadership of Jesus Christ and many more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one who lead with a vision.
Okay.
The one who create a vision with everyone in mind. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Edith was just sharing to us what she took out from the last time lecture about transformation leadership, that it's the type of leadership that you create with everybody in mind, that you want to bring transformation. And the goal is that everybody changes and become an important tool and asset towards reaching the goals of the organization. So, but the whole purpose of leadership is to serve. We say all these different types of leadership, if it does not help you to serve people, then it's nothing. So leadership is about serving. It's not about position. It's about us serving other people that they can reach their goals. So that was last time. So now I would like to hand it over to Philip Mpepo from Malawi. They'll give us the book report, like chapter number 2 of the book from John Maxwell. So Philip Mpepo and your small group, it's your time to give us the summary of the book. Thank you. You can unmute the microphone, please.
Thank you very much, Vincent. Thank you very much to Marcus as well and the whole team. I'll just shed some light on chapter 2 of the book of John Maxwell, as we are pursuing this course to do with leadership. And I will talk much on priorities according to the chapter number 2 of the book of John Maxwell that I'm supposed to talk about. As leaders, we need to prioritize our tasks or things that we are supposed to accomplish or that we are supposed to do, because failing to do that, it will be very difficult for us to be successful in doing our things that we not to do, that we need to do. So as leaders, maybe the question might be, do we have the discipline to prioritize our things, our programs that we have? And do we have the ability to work toward this a stated goal? Because for that ability to work toward a stated goal, for the goal to be accomplished, that would depend, or as a leader, on the discipline that we have to prioritize our people, our programs that we may have. So that might be the first question. But as a leader, we need to prioritize things. And at the same time, we should understand that it's not about, much as we appreciate that as a leader, you need to be a hard worker, but we understand at the same time, when you are talking of priorities, sometimes it's not how hard you work, but how smart you work. Sometimes we can work hard, of course, of which it's a good thing, but at the same time, we should also consider how are we working hard. That's where now we need to understand that it's very important that we should know how we should be smart in how, especially on how we work. As we are talking of prioritizing our assignments, we should bear in mind that we have other things that are important, very important, but might not be urgent. Sometimes we can have things that are important, assignments that are important, but they are very urgent. Sometimes we can have things that are not important, and at the same time, they are not urgent. So the question might be, suppose you have something which is very important, and at the same time, you have something which is very urgent. how do you prioritize that? And at the same time, you can have an assignment which is very important, but at the same time, the assignment is not urgent. Then how do we prioritize that? And at the same time, sometimes you can have something very important. I mean, not important, but it's very urgent. Sometimes you can have something which is not important and again, not very urgent. So that has to be in our minds as leaders, and that will help us when we are prioritizing our assignments to prioritize them well. For example, there are some things that you need to do them that are needed. They might be important, of course, but maybe they are not urgent. Then that maybe is very difficult for you to prioritize that, because there might be some other things that are very urgent than the other things that we are talking about. So these are some of the things that as leaders we need to bear in mind when we are talking of priorities. And at the same time, we need to understand the priority principles, whereby we have an assignment that we should put our priorities in place. And how to do that? That's where now we need to evaluate, not just evaluating. Sometimes you need to eliminate and again you estimate. For example, if you are to evaluate, you review the requirements, the return, the rewards. If you are eliminating, you ask yourself, what am I doing that can be done by someone else? Sometimes you can estimate what are the top projects that I'm doing this month. So these things can help us to prioritize. But sometimes the question might be, how many priorities am I supposed to prioritize? Focusing on making priorities, we should also understand that too many priorities may paralyze us. So when we are talking of priorities, it's not just a matter of coming with a lot of things that practically it might be difficult for you to achieve the goals that you have to achieve or the objectives that you have. But priorities again should be limited with the ability that is there. At the same time, your ability as a leader, can you manage to deal with the 2 or 3 things at the same time? So that again has to be put in mind. Sometimes when we are setting priorities, deadlines and emergencies sometimes can force us to prioritize. That is to say, there are some other things, maybe some other assignments that needs to be done by such a date, whereby you have no choice, but you need to accomplish that assignment within the time frame that you have been given, or the time frame that you are supposed to achieve. Sometimes because of the emergencies that might be there, you might prioritize, and there might be other emergencies as well. So that has to be put in mind, because any priority that you put and it has no deadline, I'm telling you, you can do that thing maybe for 2 years or 5 years. But if there is a deadline, the deadline will guide you to say, no, by such date, I need to finish up these things, and that will help you accomplish your objective. And on some things, the agent, the emergencies, sometimes those things, for example, you are leading an organization and there is a situation of a certain thing that you wanted to do, and at the same time you have an emergency. There are times whereby you can prioritize on the emergency. The emergencies can force us to prioritize in order for you to meet the need which has arisen, and that needs your attention, that needs to be tackled immediately. So these emergencies can sometimes force us to prioritize the assignments that we may have depending on the need. But generally, as a leader, we need to prioritize things. There are some things that are very important. We need to consider that. There are some things that are very important, but not urgent. That has to be considered. Other things, they are not important, but they are urgent. All these factors are supposed to be considered. But in general, a leader cannot lead without setting priorities. Because setting priorities will help us to come up with those things that are needed for us to accomplish or to do in our course of living. Now the question might be, do we set priorities as leaders? That might be the other question. And the other question might be, when we are setting priorities, what factors do we consider when we are setting those priorities? Sometimes you have set priorities, you have an assignment that you're doing, and emergency has risen that needs your attention as well. How do we handle that? How do we marry that with the other things that we already have on the table and an emergency which is there? So as a leader, we cannot run away from emergencies and all those things. We can set our things, but sometimes some things can rise up that needs again our attention. So as leaders, priorities are very important, but at the same time, we should make sure that sometimes we can have other things and the emergencies can come. So in short, as leaders, we need to set priorities as we are leading in the different circles of life.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, Philip, then what I heard, what you said, is, I mean, a leader cannot do everything. He has to make priorities because otherwise he has too much. And this is the difficulty of a leader, to set the right priorities, because you are not able to fulfill all. Did you say that?
But what I was saying was that you cannot have too many priorities at the same time, too many, because that will paralyze us.
Mm.
That's where now you need to look at, we are coming in with an issue where we're saying other things can be very important, can be a period which is very important, but not urgent.
Mm.
So in that case, that means you are going to focus on, okay, this thing is important, of course, but this is again another thing which is very urgent. So this might be important now, but can be done maybe in 2 or 3 days to come. Well, this one is very urgent. I cannot do without this, which means you need to focus on that depending on the situation. But what I was saying was, it's not just a matter of setting a lot of priorities that you cannot manage to accomplish. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, Philip. And this is the small group from Malawi. And each one of us, we have been given this responsibility to read the book, chapter 2. I mean, like we're reading the book. So I don't know if other people from other countries or other groups, you have a question to ask on this chapter. But the takeaway is that readers need to set priorities. And you have to know that you cannot do everything. And then because you cannot do everything, you need to put your task in different categories. Things which are very important and urgent, things which are important but not urgent, and some other things that you can do as time goes by. And setting the time frame. In what time frame am I going to do this task? Because if you don't do it, I like that what they have shared. If you don't put a time frame, you end up doing it the whole year. Thank you so much. Is anybody have a question in this chapter number 2 of the book, John Maxwell, to ask before I can hand over before I can hand the microphone to our speaker today? Any question?
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good evening. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm Israel from Nigeria. I want to ask, the book, is there a soft copy material for it? Because over my hand there, I don't have access to the book and I'm not able to get it for right now.
Okay, I would say we will have to come back to you with that question. I will ask Marcus later if we have a soft copy available, because the plan was that each and every person should make an effort to buy this book, because when we just give the soft copy, like we are just printing without maybe the permission, which is not going to be good. So we'll come back to that. Is that
All
okay?
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Another question? All right, if there is no question, that means it is clear. So this time I would like to hand over to Marcus Reichenbach, our speaker. He's in Malawi right now. He's doing a lot. We have 200 something pastors that we, as the institute, he's training. So he's doing a good job. And this time, I think we will learn a lot from him, because he's not just a leader that he just talks or just tells us fearless, but he's putting in practice what he teaches. And he has a lot of wisdom. And today he will show us through the lectures how we can reach our callings. How can we reach our goals as leaders? It's going in the same line like this chapter that we have read from John Maxwell about setting priorities, setting goals, so that we can reach our callings. So now, Marcus, the microphone is yours. Please lecture us this time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Decent. I think it's good when we pray in the beginning of the meeting. And so can I invite somebody of you to pray, Joseph, with us for the meeting?
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful life. Yes, Lord, have the peoples, well, come together, our lectures. So, then, that is what happens. You know, that we be thankful to us.
Amen. Thank you very
Amen.
much, Joseph. Yeah, and thank you very much, Decent, for the introduction, and of course, Philip, for the thoughts about priorities. And I want to go a bit deeper in what is the most important priority that we are successful as a leader. And I think that's often we have a lot to do. So hands up, who has not a lot to do? You have, there are hands, but most of the people don't lift their hand because they have a lot to do. And this is very dangerous for a leader, because when they have a lot to do, then they are running around. And I learned in my first leadership lessons, I learned this one. The teacher said, a leader never runs, or somebody who's running is not a leader. Because when you run around, then the circumstances determine you, and then you cannot lead, because the leader is shaping the circumstances and ruling them, and not the other way around. So it's very important to put our priorities on the right side, and this is not so easy. I am a leader. I know from what I'm talking about, but we will. I mean, there we have a lot of relationship and family, and so we know of that. But let us come now to another point, what is very, very important for leaders, and this is the investment in yourself. So turn to my PowerPoint, and as usual, as you know, and the PowerPoint is available then on YouTube, on our homepage, on our cloud, that you can go back to it. And we also record that, and we put the recording then on YouTube, then it should be easier to have access to it. So, and if you have questions, then you be in the end, of course, allowed to ask all your questions. So we need a growth plan that to become a leader. That is often not so common that we need a plan for that. And a lot of leaders just lead and do what they do, but we need really a plan. Otherwise, we will not really grow. So, and how do we do that? How do we change our perspective, or how we can do that? We have to be prepared. And therefore, we need to have a plan. And do not wait for the opportunity to prepare yourself. When the opportunity is coming, then it's too late. So we have to be prepared to really can face then in our leadership situations, these difficult times. So we have to prepare. That's the most important thing. And preparation means not activity. Preparation means investment in yourself, and this means study, reading, and so on. This is clear for everybody who do sports, that when you want to win the Olympic Games, and as the Swiss will win the World Cup this winter, and no, probably they will not, but anyway, everybody knows when you want to play in the national league, then you have to train. If you want, if a team wants to win, then they need a good trainer. Everybody knows that, but when it's come to leadership or it's coming to life, then often people think just when we go on, we will automatically become a leader. And this is a lie. I really believe that this is a lie. Do you see these two people? So what is the difference between these two people? Just to see, to look, when on one side is a bitter, I would say this man is bitter. And yeah, I mean, a lie in life is when we get older, then we get wiser. And that's not true. That's not a, I mean, you can get older, everybody get older, everybody of us, or somebody who get younger. I mean, beside of Matthias, who look very young in his age. But it's normally that we get older. Everybody is doing that. But this is not necessarily the case that we get wiser when we get older. And I know a lot of old people, they are bitter. They are older, should be wise, but they are bitter. But if you not work on yourself, you will become bitter. And I'm sometimes my heart is bleeding when I see older people who are so bitter. And I don't know if you know people like that. But how can you change these people? You cannot do it anymore. Because when you not invest in your life, then this will be the consequences. Or there will be people who are really better and not bitter. But they invest in themselves. So I heard from John Maxwell, his father died this year, or was it last year? No, this year he died. And he had a podcast, 2 podcasts about his father. And his father was probably 96 in hospital, but until the end of his life, he always had good words to other people. He encouraged people. All the doctors who came, all the nurses who were there and took care of him, he had always a good word for them. He encouraged always these people until his last breath. He went for this philosophy in life: add value to people, add value to people. And this is, I wish this is so amazing. And if you have time to listen to this podcast, when he is telling about his father, so somebody who is not becoming bitter, somebody is becoming better. And even he is in hospital, laying in bed, and cannot really do something, cannot really be active, have no ministry. He has a ministry, adding value to people. And every people who met him, he adds value to them. And this really impacted me. But that you are able to do this until you end of life, you have to prepare yourself. When you're not prepared, you will become bitter. And this is something that we have to know as leaders. We need a growing plan. that we really can grow in life and that we become like Jesus was, a leader who serves people, gives life to other people. Because the one who grows becomes the one who determines the future. So we know when you want to make an influence, you want to make a difference, then you first have to change yourself. And this is most the hardest thing to do. So we have to, now we want to talk about that, how we can invest in our, and how we go. And then your assignment would be, you can guess what it would be, write your own growth plan. So first, the view and grow. We are often overestimate the event and underestimate the process. So we are so event jumpers. A lot of Christians are event jumpers. From Sunday to Sunday, whoop, pop, and the next Sunday, and there is worship, hallelujah, worship, and they feel good. And then Monday morning, and they feel bad. Go to work and the same work as every time, and then they jump to the next event. So we should not overestimate that. The events can be good, also conference can be good, but we have to grow every day, daily. And so the process is much, much more important than events. So, and so we have to, as leaders, we not have to look for events. So which event can I go? where can I listen good preachers and all of that? And so no, we have to think about how we can invest in ourselves, how we can grow in our daily life. So there are 3 types of persons. So the first one is the one who is not doing what he should do. And I don't know if you are fit in this category, but I know a lot of people who fit in this category. So when this is the case, we cannot talk about leadership, because then you have to talk about first discipleship and obedience. We have to bring the people to the standard that they do what they have to do before there is no leadership possible. So the next one, those who do what they have to do. I mean, there are really good people in my office who do what I tell them to do. There are a lot of bosses who have people in the office, they do what they do, but they do just what they have to do. And there are other types, and this is those who do a little bit more as they have to do. And this is the thing, when you just do what I tell you now in these lectures or so, I mean, then you fit not in this category. We have leadership means the ones who do a little bit more than they have to do. They do more than others tells them to do. And when you're not in this category, then you have to work on that. And you have to do always a little bit more than you should. Good. You know, this is leadership mathematics. Probably you saw them before. And I don't know if you, in Africa, is this really understandable? But this calculation means 1 high 365. So that means 1 time 1 time 1 time 1, 365, 1 time 1 time 1 time 1. That means probably you had this once in the school, is the high, when you put a number high, it means that you put what is the 1, you put it 1 time 1 time 1 time. So when you, let's say it's 365 days a year, and you have 1, and you have every time 1, 1, 1, and say each time 1 times 1 times 1, 365 times, then this equals 1. Also, there is no growing process. If you not change something, there is no growing process. And I know a lot of people who stay in that. But remember, now think about that. When you have the number 1.01, that means that you put 10% every day, a bit more. Also take, no, it's not 10%, it's 1% every day, 1%, a bit more. Think we have, let's say we have 8 hours a day. So 1% of 8 hours, can somebody help me? That is around 5 minutes. Is it? 5 to 10 minutes? Can somebody help me? But it's not a lot of time. They think about that you can every day invest 5 minutes in doing something else that you not did other days, that you do not have to do. And do you know the calculation here? What is the result? And end of the year, when you do 365 days, is 37 times. This is the growing process. This is the little step that you do every day. You add something and do something more than you have to do. In end of the year, it's amazing how far you are. So, and this is something we think we want to stay on the mountain, but we need to go step by step by step until we are on the mountain. So a lot of people see the mountain, but they don't want to see the way up to the mountain. And therefore they never will stay on the mountain. They always will dream of it, but never stay there. So this is leadership mathematics. Do every day something, a little bit more, 5 minutes different. So let's say 5 minutes you stay, you stand up before the clock is ringing, and read the Bible, invest in things. So we will come all to that. Or take time to listen to people 5 minutes. What you not will do, listen to people and train yourself that you do something different than what you did yesterday. So we will come to that. Also, the process of a leader, that's now the first thing that we talk about. So I want to go to a book, present a book to you by Stephen Covey. So I think probably some of you know this book. Is there somebody who knows the book? No, I mean, it's a really, really good book. It's inspired me a lot. It's actually already 20 years old, I think, or it's not the newest book, but it's very good because the book describes leadership, the process of a leader. So to say, just when somebody say, oh, yesterday I became leader of an organization. He's not a leader. He didn't become leader of an organization. He became the leadership, and he's probably a good manager. But a leadership, you have to grow in. You cannot receive it. That's something that you have to grow, and there is a process behind it. And I think the description of Stephen Covey, and everybody who can have access to the book, then please read the book too. He said there are 7 steps. So the first step is be proactive. Also, people who are not proactive, they have to become first proactive. So proactive means you do what you have to do without somebody's telling you you have to do it. When now, let's say I'm the boss and I tell my secretary, can you write this and this? And then the next day I have to come, did you do it? And I told you to do it. And she said, oh, no, I will do it. And the next time you have to come again and ask, did you do it? This is not proactive. So proactive means you do what you have to do, but not that people tell you to do that. So my son, with my children, not just my son, but this is something that I work every day with them. So I tell them, clean your room. Or I have to tell them, do the dishes, do this, do that. And it's really hard. And everybody who has kids know what I'm talking about. So, but we have to train people that they do what they have to do. And they probably do a little bit more. But when you not have the proactivity, that you do it by just doing it because it's your duty, and somebody has to tell you, then you're not proactive. And then you can increase your proactivity and you still do things that you don't have to do. Then you are really proactive. So first, think about yourself. Are you standing there? And think about your staff. Are they standing there? And when they are not, then we have to train and discipline that they can do the first step. So the second step would then be have the beginning with the end in mind. That means that you have a vision. You know what to do. There are people who just do what they have to do. They do it, but they never have really a goal in mind. They not know what they have to do. So my son is now doing apprenticeship, and I'm really proud of him. So he came to me and say, I want to study that. I want to learn that. I want to, and he was really proactive, and he had a goal in mind, and he committed to that. He committed to the school, and he's doing really a good job. But this is then when they are proactive, they have to learn to receive a vision. They have to know in which direction I go. They have to know, what do I want to study? What do I want to build up? What kind of business I want to build up? And so, and when they are on the first, then we train them for the second. Receive vision, help them to go away, help them to build something up that nobody tells them to do. That's their vision, they do it. So that's the second step. And then the third step is then put first thing first. This is what we talked about today. So you have to set priorities, because when you grow up, let's say 1 and 2, you receive that, then you are a good manager. But when you are a manager, then you have a lot of tasks. And so you cannot manage leadership. So you have to learn that you set priorities, what is really important and what is not so important. And this is sometimes very hard, because we like to do the things. We want to do the things, but we cannot do everything. We have to give it up as leaders and have to learn to lead people and not to lead the tasks. And when we're not all still in doing everything, we cannot lead people, because lead people needs time. So we have to learn to delegate and give it to other people, that we are free to really invest in people. And this is a hard job to do. So let's say when you reach this one, then this is called the private victory. You're a good manager. You understand that, or you are actually a leader of a business who can do that. You do it very well. And then it's the way it's from dependency to independency. These people who reach that are independent. When you are not proactive, you are dependent on others. And when you don't have a vision, then you never know where to go. You always need people who help you say what to do. And when you not can put priorities, then you need people who help you to set the time, to set the schedule, and so on. But when you reach that, that's the personal victory, then you are fully independent person. You are fully adults. These people we want to have in our companies, in our ministries, and we can fully trust them, and we know they do the right thing. And so, but this is just the beginning. So Stephen Covey say that's just the beginning. This is not leadership. So leadership will be the next triangle. And do you want to hear it? How you get? And so, but he said, when you not fulfill when you not come independent and you not fulfill the 3 orders, then we not can discuss about leadership. We cannot. So we have to bring the people to this level and ourselves to this level that we can talk about the rest. So the next one is then think about win-win situation. So it's not just about me. It's not about me. It's not about my business. It's not about my company. It's about win-win situation. So we're doing it together. So we are, I think in my business, I do my profit and I win, or you can say in my church, I get more people. But this is just about me or about my business. But now we have to learn, we do something that everybody profit from it. So we are not in a competition in the kingdom of God, the one win who is the stronger, the other lose. We are in this that we grow, and in this growing process, everybody can win. But we have to learn to think in win-win. But when we not reach the other three, then we are still don't have the personal victory. And when this is lacking in our heart, the personal victory, then it's hard to think win-win. Does it make sense to you? It's hard to think win-win when we not get the other three. So when we now reach the level of win-win, then it's come to a next level, and seek first, the 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And this is very hard. And that's what I said to the first time. It's what Jesus said to us. It's first the others and not us. So we have to learn, not put our opinions first. No, we are ready to listen to others. We are ready to put others first and not ourselves. But this, Covid say that this is very hard when you not have the independency. It's hard to do that. First, we have to do the growing process before we really can reach the level and say, it's not about me, it's about the others. It's about the kingdom of God. And this is something that we have to learn, constantly have to learn. And then the last one, it's actually the hardest thing to do, is this synergy. We heard probably the word synergy, working together, and together we can reach more than every individual. So synergy, what he described in the book, is also that we work with the people together that we think they can do nothing. These people who are really opposite of myself, and my churches who go really in an opposite direction than our churches go. I mean, ministry that go in other direction. But we have to learn to work together. Have to learn that we can also learn from other people, from other ministries, from other things. And when I look to myself personally, I really struggle often with them. We have personalities in our ministry that I'm struggling. I really work with them together. And sometimes I think I'm not on this point to really believe I can learn something from them. See, we have to be honest as leaders. This is really hard for me to work with these people together and think, well, I should listen to them. I can really learn something from them. So I'm not on this level, but we have to come to the level that we understood that I'm not the only one who knows something. Every from us knows something, and we have to be ready to listen from one another and have the attitude to say, I can learn from somebody who is really different from me, and working together. And I think when I read this chapter from him, it's really hard. That's so hard to do. For me, that's the hardest thing to do. And I would say I stay in the moment in this corner or in this triangle 6 and working on that, really to work in synergy and in a team and not just alone. And when you reach that, then he say it's the interdependency. That means you are able to work in a team. And a team is not, oh, I'm glad that others do it and I can put the responsibility to somebody else. No, a team means that everybody is independent. Nobody of them need a team because they don't need a team. They can set their schedule by itself. But we work as a team together because the reality of God is in a team. And we submit one another, not but because we cannot do it, but we know it's better to work together and we reach the goal together. So a team is not because we cannot do it alone. A team is we reach more, but we are all independent. And this, he described it as interdependency. That's the level to reach. And honestly, myself, I ask often, are I there to really have this interdependency? I mean, I have the independency, I think this I reached, but do I have really I'm able to work with the people, listen to the people, bring the people together, and not just go my way? And this is hard for me. And I want to ask yourself, or I want to ask you that you ask yourself on which level you stand. And we can only be honest. There is no that we say I stay there and you're not. We have to be honest. When you are on number one, then we are on number one, and we have to overcome that we can grow. So this is in his book, and then the seventh would be that it's like it's always a circle. He say you never reach the top, then probably in your business you reach that, but in your family you're not. And we are not complete, then it could be that in one area you are already interdependent and you are perfect, but in your family, working with your wife together, really working with your kids together, it could be different. So he say we are not complete, so we always have to work and have to start sometimes again by the first proactive. And this is also in my life. I'm honest to you. So let's say my wife have to tell me, hey, you cannot wear these trousers. They are dirty. I don't see it. I don't take priorities for that. I'm not proactive. My wife have to tell me that. Or I go to a meeting, a very important meeting. I was in the government building. And so then I came in and the lady, so I know the lady, and she put me in order. And then I was ashamed. So why did I not do it by myself? That's not proactive. I need others to help me. And so do you see, there are things in your life where you are really on the beginning. and others you are a bit further. But there is no joke, no cheating. As leaders, you cannot cheat. Like the real life is really brutal. It will show where you stand, and you cannot wish to stand somewhere where you're not. So he described that, and I mean this we have in the book. And I think when we take the Bible, that probably we had the scripture from Philippians 2:2-9 last time, probably you know. But I think Luke 2:49 to 50 is a really interesting passage. Did you read it? Can somebody read that Bible scripture? And I think that this Bible scripture would show the first process, and the other Bible scripture would show us the second process. It's the last verse.
Luke 2:49. And he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my father's business?
No, is it right? Do you have? Yeah, but this is the passage. Probably it's wrong. Then sorry about that. But I saw.
What does it has to say?
No, it's or sorry about that, and because I cannot see. It's to 52. To 52. You can 51 to 52. Just read that two words. Can you read that? 51 to 52.
He went down and was suffering from them. But his mother said to her, Jesus, wisdom, station, God.
Yeah, so we can read Jesus submit to his parents. Can we see that? And he grew, let's see, he grew in wisdom and he grew in understanding. He became mature, more mature. So we probably think, yeah, Jesus was just Jesus and he didn't know, he didn't have to grow, but he grew. He grew. And for me, it's just like this process to become independent. So Jesus also was a baby. He needs his mother milk. He was fully dependent on the parents. And in his childhood, he had to learn to submit to parents, to be obedient. This is what the scripture say here. And I think that was a process. And then after that, he was ready to do the ministry. It was after 30 years. And he was ready then to do the ministry. So leadership needs a time. And when we are young, then it's sometimes not so good when we put people when they're young in higher positions for leadership. We have to disciple them, coming to this independency before we put them in leadership positions. We give them a management position and they have a lot of responsibility and we train them. But when they are not proactive and nothing have in mind and cannot set priority, we should not sit them in leadership position. It can be very dangerous. So I think also the process that Jesus had to went to this process to become a leader. So we should also go through this process. And we often talk about, yeah, giving everything and love Jesus and all this blah, blah, blah. Sometimes for me, it's our words. But when we are not ready to work on ourselves step by step, we're not reaching that. We cannot do that when we not really are growing in this process and become in this independency. So secondly, how can I now grow myself? I mean, first, we have to change our perspective. We have to understand, I have to grow. And when you ask in the church, who knows that you have to grow spiritually? I don't know how many people would say yes. I mean, when you ask how we have to grow, that we can make a fancy worship or a fancy television show in our service, I mean, then you know we need that, and we have to grow. We have to equip the people to do a good thing. But sometimes we forget that we have to grow. So first of all, I think Maxwell has it not in his book. I don't think it was I repeat that. But first of all, we have, you know, the life have two circles: the circle of concern and the circle of influence. So when you now, the circle of concern is a lot. We can be concerned about Donald Trump, about Corona, about the war in the Ukraine, about this and that, but can we change it? Can we change that? No, we cannot. But life has so many things that we can be concerned of, but we cannot change it. So the first thing is that a leader has to put his energy in the circle of influence. See, coming back here in the circle of influence, when he put this energy in the circle of influence, can he change something in this circle? Yes, and the circle will become bigger. See, but as long you put the influence in the circle of concern, nothing will change. The influence will always be the same, will be limited. So our energy has to go in the circle of influence and not in the circle of concern. So when we say about priority, so you say, or there are things who are not important and not urgent, and these things we can forget. We should not put our energy in such things. And sometimes you have to discipline not to do WhatsApp. WhatsApp probably it's not a bad thing, but YouTube, watching films, playing games, and so we have to stop that as leaders and not put all our energy in things like that. And also in things like I'm reading newspaper about Queen died in England, and now the news is full of that. But can I change something there? No, I cannot. And so we have to stop that and have to say, what can I influence in my life? And you have to put the energy there. And this is the first thing that we have to do, put the energy on the right thing, have your priorities on the right place. So when you do that, then this is reactive. Or when you have you hold your energy in the circle of concern, that it's reactive, or you act to all of this. No, oh, I did the corona or this and this, but you're not really active, and this is proactive. You do something to change it, but this comes from inside out. And so not from this concern or this environment thing around you. So one thing is very important is this, probably you saw that before, is this culture onion. I don't know if you saw that picture before. A lot of people talk about that. So the culture onion say, actually, if you want to change something, you have to change from inside. Also, the first onion circle is, or the skin, the first skin is the environment, the things around you. And now let's say the UN see there is a lot of AIDS cases in Africa, people died, and they look to that. So what kind of answer do they give? From this perspective, and that they want to change this situation. So their answer is, oh yeah, we give condoms, or we probably, they say, we do education, help them, but the real problem is different. The real problem is inside. The real problem is by the behavior, because the people behave wrong, therefore they create a problem. And now, a secular point of view, they want to change the problem. But you cannot change the problem when you not change the behavior of the people. And it's clear from science. I can show you documents who say that homosexual people have 100 times more AIDS than other people. Also, this is from Europe. I don't know if this would fit in Africa, but it seems that this is a problem. And the other problem is that they do sex everywhere. If we will not do sex everywhere and say sex is something that belongs to marriage, then AIDS would disappear. Probably not fully, but it is a question of behavior. And the thing is, people want to change things, but not their behavior. And so the UN put a lot of money in for all these initiatives and for the condoms and so. But we know if we want to change something, the behavior of the people have to change. But then this is the second skin, but the next skin would be, so why people change their behaviors? Did you ever try to change your behavior? Did you? How successful you were? How? I mean, it's obviously it's really hard. It's really hard to change behavior, and it's also what I mean. The cross and all this has a lot to do with it. So Jesus said, you cannot do it by yourself. So we need something really help us to change our behavior. So it's really important that you have values. And in a situation of, let's say, you see a beautiful woman you need to have a value in this situation. Say, no, I will not look to her. If we not have values who say you should not do it, then you will not do it. We have to know what is true and what is not. And so everybody, we have to set values. What is true, what is not true. If we don't have that, then why should we do different? Then we, in a situation of pressure, we just follow our feelings, like normally people do. So we need values who tell us, no, don't do that. And so question is, where does your values come from? And this is the next skin, or it's from our belief system. First, we need a belief system who really tells us this is wrong and this is right. So when we not believe in something, then we never will change it. We have to believe it and have to be convinced it's really true. Then we say, we set that value, and then we follow the behavior according to the value, and then circumstances will change. So the last question would not be the inner part of where is belief systems coming from, and this is called worldview. About worldview means all our beliefs, what we believe, where are we coming from, where are we going to, all these beliefs determine then our beliefs in different situations. So worldview means all beliefs together. So, and we have to find out, and we have to train that. And this is what Christianity can do. We have to find the right worldview. And this is something that we have the Bible. It's over people. It's not coming from us. It can teach us what is really right and wrong. And so we have to change first our mind to understand the reality that our beliefs change, that we can set good values, that our behavior will change, and in the end, that we can change society. So this is the culture onion, and I think a leader has to understand that. And when this is true, what I believe, then we have to ask how we can say it. We can change first our mindset. Let's come to the next file. How to change my thinking attitude. So I will give you now some details. What is the time now? Decent. Do I have still time?
Yeah, you still have some times, then we'll open.
Okay, no response. I will go on.
Yeah.
So how to change now practical applications. So this was theory to tell you that we really have to change our thinking. And I hope you understood me. Long theory, but now let us be practical. How to change? I have to change my perspective worldview first. So this is what I say. I have to do it myself. So, I mean, it's not coming from outside. You have to do it. You have to start thinking differently. And when somebody is telling you, a pastor is telling you this and this and this, maybe it will not change you. You have to believe that inside, and you have to be convinced about that it is really true. So you have to do your own work. Nobody can change you. You have to do it by yourself. The door has only one tool to open, and this is from inside and not from outside. So see the bridge and not the tunnel. And it's very important that you start and not see only the problem. You see the way, you see eternity, you see where do you go to. As long as you see just the bad things, the tunnel, it's really hard. I tell you, it's really hard to change. So we have to come out of this negative view to see just the negative things. And we have to come out of this tunnel where we are in a tunnel to see on a bridge, you see the environment around. So think long term. From a goal to a grow, that's a mistake, sorry. From a goal to a grow mindset. Also, the thing is not, I want to reach this position, otherwise I'm nothing also. We have to learn, we have to see what is my growing process. And stop to think about what is the goal, really to understand when I not grow today, I will never reach something. So we have to learn to see our whole process and not, I mean, goal would be, okay, we have a service and on my service, 200 people comes, wow, I had success. And so, and then the next, oh, we need 300 people. And so, it's nice to have these people, but you need to grow. And when you not grow, and you only have this goal mindset, then you not really can live. So change your attitude first. So it's your attitude that you have to change, that you say, okay, I no more so goal oriented and fixed on events, on goals. I really change my attitude. No, I have to train myself first. That something can happen. Everybody can decide that. I cannot do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And this means also discipline, and this is not a common known world today, word today. So turn uphill and not downhill. So you learn that you every day go up. You every day say, I want to learn something new. I go up. And when you discover you going uphill, then you have to change something. And so uphill in your negative thoughts and your ministry is probably, there's another thing, can go down, but you still grow, you still learn something. But this is important, not the outside, the inside. So we have to learn that. Stop blaming others and take responsibility yourself. See, if you are still in this blaming game, the other is guilty, you never will reach the goal. You never become a leader. A leader is taking self-responsibility. The world is not about who is guilty. The world asks a question, who takes responsibility? Jesus was not guilty, but he took responsibility. He went to the cross, and we should act like him, so taking responsibility. And so it has to stop in your life with blaming situations. When you are late coming to the meeting, then you are late. And you can say, oh, it's the traffic, oh, it's this, oh, it's, you can blame everything. No, you are late. You're late, and this is bad for us as a meeting. And I don't worry about why, but you're late. And you have to say, okay, I was late. I didn't miss, I didn't manage my time right. I should know that there was traffic, so I should come a bit earlier. And you have to start to take self-responsibility and stop blaming others. And I know from what I'm talking about, I know that we have the tendency, and I observe this in a lot of people, just to blame situations or blame other people. Say, who did that here? Well, he was that. No, the question is, who is taking responsibility? I heard the story from Simon Sinek. He said somebody was kicked out of military because he fell asleep in the night watch. And so they kicked him out. And Simon Sinek is really a famous teacher about leadership. He came into the commander, and this happened exactly in this time. And then he said to the commander, I think it was a bit harsh to him, just because he fell asleep during night watch. You kick him out of military. And military in America, this is really, everybody wants to be in military, or this has really a position, and this was really hard for this young man. And then the commander said, I did kick him out because he fell asleep. Do you know why he kicked him out? Why? Because he could not stay to his mistake. He could not stay to his mistake. He said, oh, I didn't fall asleep. And it was obviously that he did. And so this is the point. Can you stay to your mistake? I tell you now my story, and it's really a bad story, but I want to be honest with you. And mostly you learn from mistakes. So I went with my mentor, I went up the mountain. So I have a mentor, he's the CEO of a business who had more than 1,000 employees. And he is very busy. And so when I want to have him, then I have to do something really extreme. Then I get it, then I can do it with him. So, and then we decided to go up a mountain. And there is, it's a stair, 13,000 steps going up 1,900 meters. It's the difference between the bottom and the top. So we went up there, and 7 o'clock, the train is coming down, and we walk on the rail. And so we have to be away when the train is coming down, otherwise you will really have a problem. So we go before, and then we went up, and you cannot disappear from the rail, because in the last is a tunnel, and you will be in a tunnel, and before is a bridge. So, and I was there, and he was faster than me. He was already up there, and then I was in the tunnel, and I was so exhausted. I was really exhausted. Then he called me and said, "You have to disappear. They are coming. They are coming. They start before 7 today. You have to disappear, otherwise we will really have problems. You have." I said, I can't. And I saw exit, and then I saw, oh, I have to disappear. I go out by the exit, and then I passed the rails, and they were full of fat, and I have it all on my hand. And then I was so sweating, but I didn't recognize I was really black from the fat, all of me. And then I went there out, and I came out, and then I could finally jump on the way, and then I walked up, and the man from the train was there, and he saw me. And then I came to him. My mentor was behind him, and he asked me, "So did you get out by the exit?" Because he saw that I get out by the exit. Something is wrong with me, and I didn't saw myself. And then I was really in trouble, because I knew from my mentor, I heard the teaching, you have to stay to your mistake. So, or I'm willing to stay to my mistake, because I know it will have huge consequences. And then I didn't say something, and God was so graceful to me that the man said, "Clear, you get out of the exit." Also, he gave the answer, and then Anthony shouted me, and how stupid I am, and what I did. And my mentor, he laughed. He just laughed because he saw me, and I stand there, and then I sat with my mentor together, and we talked about this situation. And I was so frustrated, because I want to be a leader, but I missed it. I didn't do it practically, because he gave the answer before, but inside I know I knew I missed it. I'm not ready to be a leader. I was so frustrated. And then I sat with my mentor together, and what he said is, "Hey, that's normal. As a leader, you do mistakes, and you have to stand up." I mean, but you are so frustrated about yourself, because you not fulfill the task, but you have to stand up. But see, that's the most important thing, is you have to stand to your mistakes, and you have to stop to blame others. This is a question of attitude. As I already say that it's not about me. I'm made for a higher purpose. It's this understanding. If you just in this, it's about me. I want to be the best. I want to have a position. It's about my ministry. And when you talk with people, you always say I. Then these people who do that, they are not leaders. You can observe, and somebody just talking about my ministry, myself, I did that, through me, this happened, and so on. No, I mean, a leader is ready to listen to others, and it's not about himself. So you have to start to look for others and not put you in the midst. Be grateful for what you have. Very important attitude. So you can only change what you have. you cannot change what you don't have. That's logical. But we are so often look, oh, we want to be like this, or oh God, why I'm not like him? Why don't I don't have this? You cannot multiply what you have. You can only multiply what you have. So exactly this end. Should I stop here?
Yes, I'm afraid your time is up so that we can
Is
open.
this end around?
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
I
Yes,
finished
hear you.
probably with my practical applications. Here I wrote practical. So now what can you do really practical day to day? I think I finished this sheet. Also, have good inputs. So if you not have new inputs, nothing will change. The world will not change when you not put something good into it. Then you do every time the same thing again. So it means, of course, stop reading the Bible and study it. So study the Bible, have inputs about the Bible, have inputs from good people. So think and reflect, study. So it's not enough to have inputs. What I say today is for nothing. You have to reflect on it. You have to think about that, and you have to study it. And this requires discipline. Just sitting in a church, people will not change. We need people who have a booklet and start to write what the preacher is saying. The question is just, is the preacher saying something that I can write down? That's another question. But we need to write things down. We need to be there. We need to think and reflect and study about this. So the next one is constantly look for opportunity to learn. So we are constantly have to learn something. We look, what can I learn from this situation here? Listen, look to it, ask questions. It's not walking around, have here, answer here, answer. So we have to grow constantly. And there is nothing change inside in our thinking, then there is no change at the end. So next one, spending time with good thinkers. So when you not have time with good thinkers, you need to find it. I went to this CEO guy of this this man who is the CEO of this company and asked him, can you be my mentor? Because I need people like you who think differently. I'm really, I look to him and say, wow, I mean, I want to learn from you. Can I learn from you? We need people. We have to look for people who are thinking on another level that we can really grow. So we need a coach. Look for a good mentor. Yeah, look for a good mentor. You need somebody who's higher, who's further than you, who can really challenge you, can mentor you. And this needs discipline and also prayer for looking for that. Act on your good thoughts and not just have this, then start to act your new thoughts and add value to people and so on and so on. Then teach it. So we have to come to a point where we start to teach it. Also first we have to change our mind, then we have to act on it, and then we have to teach it. And so it's every leader start then to teach his values, help other people to go through the process that he went through. And then act in teams. It's not just that you do it alone, then really we have to act in teams, and we have to help teams coming together and come in this interdependency as a team, and not just think individual, I mentor him, I mentor him, have to mentor whole teams together. It's very important. Then practice leadership and one-to-one mentoring. Yeah, so I think now it's finished, but now I think I gave a lot of ideas. My summary is we need to grow, and when we not have a growing plan, then we will not grow. So the electricity is gone here, but I will give it back now to listen. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcus, for a
You
wonderful
have to open
presentation.
your microphone,
Can you hear me now? Hello?
or do we not have?
We can hear you.
Yes. On the Malawi, they cannot hear me. They're in the dark. Can you hear me from Malawi?
Yes, I can hear you properly.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Marcus, for the wonderful presentation about leadership, about reaching our goals, having a plan to grow. It's really great that you share these insights and the stories with us about leadership. What I can take out is that each and every reader, we need to have this growth mindset. If we can think that growth is possible, then we'll make a plan for it. But if we have a fixed mindset that it's like this, I cannot change, then you cannot grow. So I like what Marcus has said about not focusing our energy on the sake of concern, but focusing our energy in the sake of influence. So I would like to open the microphone to the people if you would like to ask some questions for clarification. Marcus is still around. He can give us some more explanations when something was not clear. I have 10 minutes to do that, or less, a bit less. So the microphone is open. If you have any questions or any comment, take away, that would be good. Please share with everybody. Yeah. The microphone is open. If you have any question or just comment or something that you like jump out to you, this is the time.
Hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah,
Yes.
this is Ian from Malawi. I really appreciate for the all informations and the encouragement which Mr. Marcos has stated, and I've really appreciate for good information concerning about ourselves, our families, and our kids. This is my comment which I would like to put. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ian. Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. This is Israel once again from Nigeria. I want to appreciate Mr. Marcos for the session. It was such an impactful and insightful one, learning about the importance of growth. And so I have a question that I want to ask, and my question is, I want to get clarification. Is growth like a level to attain or a continuous process?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Israel. And I give the question to Marcus. Israel is asking if growth is the level to attain, or is a process, it's a lifelong process that we still have to aim to grow. So how do you explain, how do you help him, Marcus?
Can you repeat it again? We don't have the speaker anymore. It's a bit tricky to understand you.
Okay, Israel wanted to know if growth, it's a goal, or it's the process that we need to keep on growing, like a process. Is it a goal that when we grow, that's finished, or it's a lifelong process?
No, yeah, it's a lot. Also, the answer is already in the growing is always, it's never a goal. Growing is, you can never be on the top, because growing means always there is more and you can grow. And I think that is also, when we talk about eternity or God is eternal. So that there is never a finish, there is never a finish line. So that's the process of life. Have this eternity life where there is no end. And I think this is as well for our process as a leader. So we are not working for an end. We are always growing. And this also, I mean, it's not a question where you are standing. The question is only, are you growing? You stand on a let's say on this one, but you are growing. You are on the right way. But you can standing on the level 4, but you are not growing, and then you are not on the way. And this is the question: are you in a growing process or not?
Thank you, Marcus. I hope, Israel, did you get something? Did you hear your answer? Are you satisfied?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Somebody else? Does somebody else have a question or a comment to Mr. Marcus?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I just want to comment just about growth. If it's true that if we are not thinking of growth, that means we can just be used toward things and toward way of leading people, which is not right, because I think in everyday things are changing. So I think if we are to grow, if we are to think of growth, that means we need to, I think we can achieve a lot. But if we are just fixed on one point, I think we'll be just used to odd things, odd styles of leadership that cannot even help others. Yeah, so I'm so thankful for your teaching, and I'm so encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody else? I have 3 minutes for the questions. Otherwise, I'll close. So I don't want anybody to go and say, I would have asked this.